Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. You're here today with us on ClearTech Loop. We're in the know and on the move. I am Joe Peterson. I'm the Vice President of Cloud and Security for Clarify 360 and the Chief Analyst at ClearTech Research. And I'm here today with Mr. Bil Harmer, who is the CISO of Killswitch Advisory. Hi, Bill.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for giving your time today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah. So in case folks are new to the podcast, ClearTech Loop is a focused podcast series, and we're delivering sharp, real-time insights at the intersection of cybersecurity, cloud, and AI security. And this session is part of a series of conversations with IT and security leaders that are navigating a new era of risk and responsibility. But it's not just about protection. We ask what they see on the horizon and how they're preparing for it now through a three-question lens. But before we get into the questions, Bill, tell us what you're doing with Killswitch Advisory.
So I started Killswitch Advisory to bring an adult in the room to the startup world. I have nearly 30 years in startups and cybersecurity. I have 4 exits out of 6 startups. And I'm looking to bring that to the community and help startups grow.
I think it's a great niche, and you can bring a wealth of experience. So let's get right into the questions.
Sure.
Thanks. From a CISO's perspective, how should you be thinking about cybersecurity in terms of dollars and business impact?
Cybersecurity should honestly be proportional to the risk accepted. What is it that you can and can't accept? I think looking at it as a percentage of IT budget is a bad way to go. I think looking at it as a percentage of revenue, maybe. The honest truth is CISOs need to look at their business and understand how they make money. They need to know exactly how they make money, because that'll tell them what they can and can't survive. Just because, and I've used this example before, and I'll continue to use it, because if you look at General Electric, when they're looking at what intellectual property is important to them, the washing machine division is not terribly important in the sense that, it's colors and features. And if something happens, it's going to hurt the bottom line, but it's not going to hurt it the same way that the jet engine division would.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you the idea of how you should be allocating your cybersecurity dollars against the risk. It's not the risk of something happening, it's the risk of what you cannot survive. So that's more the way I think you should be looking at it.
Right. And that, to your point, that changes by vertical.
Yeah.
Right?
And it changes on a daily basis too. You may have a shift in your business model. And this is, again, why CISOs absolutely need to have a seat at the table, because those business shifts sometimes don't get trickled down to the personnel as quickly as they should. And if a CISO is defending or putting money into or building a program, which are not typically easy or agile and can't be adjusted super fast, you can't suddenly change your strategy. But you don't know that the board has decided, we're going to focus on Division A instead of Division B, because we know in the future Division B is going to have some resource issue that's going to cause problems. So we're going to get out of that business and get into this business. But you're still thinking B is important, and you're sinking your dollars into that. That's why we've got to be there understanding what is happening with the company and how are we driving this company so that we can properly protect it.
That's great advice. And it just made me think about a CISO that I know, quite clever gentleman, I think. And he has his whole team read the 10K.
There you go.
Because, and you know it and I know it, we do a really great job of training technicians, but we have a hard time helping them make that next leap to leaders in terms of their communication sometimes and what they should be focused on. And I thought that was a great way for him to sort of teach them to think like the leaders of the organization were thinking.
Yeah, read the 10K, listen to the forward statements for a public company. Private companies, that's a little more difficult because they're not around.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to figure it out. That's, I think, a big challenge that we have. But no, absolutely. It just makes them more adaptable. The security world, I don't know how well a lot of us deal with acceptable loss. But that should be in our lexicon. We should be talking about acceptable loss. We should look at our business and say, it's okay. If I lose my marketing department, laptops, they get compromised, big deal. Format them and go. Unless I'm a marketing company, right? Like, I mean, that would be a horrific thing if I was a marketing company delivering marketing services to my clients. So understanding those types of situations and being current. This is not static. We don't fire and forget here. You know, we have to be looking at this every day to understand what's happening.
Yeah, really great point. So next question, in your opinion, what is the best way to integrate cyber risk into the business's overall financial risk model?
Truthfully, cyber risk is the financial risk model. We need to.
Well, some would argue with you.
Yeah, I know. We just need to get away from sort of looking at the numbers of vulnerabilities and the potential. That's for us to decide how the risk gets addressed. But we need to be having the discussion and understanding, how do we tie our actions back to the dollars of the company. So if we're looking at, let's go to the washing machine division, and we think that there's a potential vulnerability in the washing machine division that could cost us. And it's not that we would get attacked and something would happen. Boards don't care about that. They want to know that if they get attacked and something happens, how much does it cost? Right. And so you can do the financial modeling on that side. And that's when I start looking at new software coming out, I am asking every one of these startups, how do you tie my financials into this? How can you tie my financials into this? Because then I can look smarter and make a better decision when I go back. And I can say, look, I understand if we're going to pick up and move our manufacturing out of China to Alabama because we need to bring stuff back onshore, or whatever the decision is. There's a financial cost to that. There's risks, there's logistics, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with it. There are cyber issues that happen as well, because anytime there's disruption, there's a potential for a cyber attack. And that's, any good cyber threat will come during a point of transition. So you should be in there having that discussion around, well, here's some of the risks that we lose. We lose some of the risks that are inherent with being offshore in another country. We lose the risks of being offshore in a country such as China, which has a higher known issue around threats, cyber threats, bringing it back onshore. But being onshore, we're going to have other issues. And that's how we should be integrating cyber risk into the financial risk models, because that's how we make decisions on the business. Right. Those decisions to move a manufacturing plant, to open a new line of business, or to change code, right? We're going to rewrite everything from Ruby to Go. Those are decisions that are made for reasons, whatever the reasons are. I don't care right now, but they're going to have financial impact reasons. And we discuss them usually around the financial aspect to say, okay, it will make the code, the recoding, it'll make the code faster, better, easier to support. The easier to support means it's cheaper to support. That's really what it is. But we'll couch that and cover it up in it makes our customers happier. But making our customers happier is better for the bottom line, because we don't churn as fast, right? So everything's a financial decision. And that's how we just have to bring cyber into it as well.
Yeah. And yeah, no, that's a great answer. Last question.
Yeah.
How should the CISO be thinking about AI adoption in terms of its use to secure emerging threats, and then from an organizational governance perspective?
That's a really interesting one, because we are, if you had walked around RSA and you saw all the AI security solutions out there, right? We are still discussing, how do we secure AI? Yet every security vendor is selling AI solutions and having not figured out how to secure them. I think the way to look at this is the time, there was all those discussions for years around CISOs should not be the department of no, they should be the yes, and they should be open, etc. Well, we're way past that now. AI adoption is there. Don't even try to stop it. Find ways to integrate it and to allow the adoption to happen in a framework that you can at least see and have some modicum of control over it. And that could be as simple as saying, look, okay, we understand that there's all sorts of solutions out there, but we're going with and pick one: Claude, OpenAI, whatever. Here's the one we're going to use. So for you to play and try and do all those things, do it in one. Get an enterprise version. have some control over it, so you're not doing all the personal ones. On the apps that are bringing in the co-pilots, the first thing I've said, and this is a PSA to anybody that's listening, go back and look at your SaaS contracts with all of your vendors, because all of your vendors are going to bring co-pilots in. If they bring co-pilots in and they have that standard clause in a SaaS contract, and I put these in my contracts for 15 years, it said, I will not use your data for any other purpose than stated in the services that you have purchased. But I always had a carve out that said, except I can use it for performance-related metrics or performance-related upgrades to make the systems better. And that was honestly built for things like disk read write, query speed, network bandwidth, all the stuff that I needed to do to make the environment better. But if that clause still sits in there and they open up a co-pilot, then that training that database or training that LLM is making the system better. So theoretically, they can use your data to train their LLMs. So that one, I say, go back and look at all of your contracts. You've got work to do there, but absolutely get through and just have the LLMs carved out, have AI carved out of that performance piece, or find a way to change that, because that, it's not malicious on the vendor's part. I don't think there's a vendor out there that went, we'll plan this 10 years in advance so we can sneak it in, but it is in there and you want to get it out. That's what I would say. And then from a governance perspective, I'm not sure right now. I think you really have to look at what your governance framework is for your company and see how AI fits into that, because there's so many different ways to govern. There's so many different perspectives on that, that will slide into some very easily as just another system with another data point. And in others, it will not work at all. Like, when you look at things like HIPAA and some of the more rigorous frameworks that are out there for compliance, there's just too much looseness in AI right now for it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And what a great PSA for everybody about their software contracts. That was a nugget. So thank you for that nugget. And thank you for the time today. I had so much fun talking to you, as normal. So everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.